Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat coming to you live, again, twice a week. It's supposed to be 5 times a week. We're doing twice a week. You may have noticed that I haven't been on social media as of late. There's some good reasons for that. I don't know if you've seen the news, but there is certainly some evil taking place in the world. And I would even go as far as to say crimes against humanity as they try to control our minds. Anyway, we're going to be talking about that and other things coming up in just a second, so stick around. Get a little bit of coffee there before we start. Now, before I get into all of this, boy, some strange things happening here with the camera. So there's a little bit of like a dial on the front of the camera that adjusts the how wide open the lens is, the thing on the back, the aperture. And you change that by turning. Well, I have it set up where you kind of turn this little dial. Anyway, as I've been sitting here trying to set it up, I noticed my camera was going haywire, and I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Like, it's going bright and dark, because I can see the video feed on the monitor. And I look over, and I am watching as those settings are changing and the dial is turning, and I'm the only one up here. And there's certainly no hands on the, oh my goodness, I better be. Anyway, that was a little bit odd, a little bit off-putting as I go to start doing this live stream, something messing with the camera. I don't know what it could have been, maybe anything, who knows, maybe I didn't see the settings, that wasn't my mind playing tricks on me, but maybe the dial turning was, maybe there was something going on in the camera itself. Whatever it was, that was interesting. Very interesting way to start this off. As we begin to talk about absolute evil in the world today. Now, I know everybody has heard all these things. You've probably heard about this. I don't know if you follow Michael Schellenberger, but they've been talking about it all over the radio. Everywhere except for the mainstream media, I guess. They've been talking about this stuff. These programs that have been put into place, not just to censor the internet, but to actually manipulate people. And you're probably saying, yeah, we know they try to manipulate people, but what does that actually mean? I mean, when you really get down to it, what does it mean that they tried to, influence the election or, change people? It's really, really creepy, the things that they have the technology to do now using social media. And I myself have made the decision that I'm just going to stay off of Facebook. I'm going to stay off of Instagram, all of those things. I'm even reluctant to get on Twitter. I know that supposedly Elon Musk has purchased it and made everything better, but it's just too much of a risk. What you don't know what you're letting into your mind when you get on these things. You have no idea how vulnerable each of us actually is. They have got us figured out so well with big data that they know exactly what sequence of putting something in front of you on your feed, how often. They can do it over a long period of time and bring you into a place where you probably never would have been otherwise. They can have you thinking things that you wouldn't be thinking otherwise. And it's not what you think. It's not what you think it is either. It's happening on both sides. All the craziness that we've been seeing in the country right now has been probably the result of these crazy programs that they have been running on the American people, on the British people, probably everyone everywhere. Anyone who's getting on social media, you're opening up yourself to these crazy attacks. And I know it sounds crazy, but they've come out. I mean, there's a whistleblower that's, dropped the documents, and sure enough, the government is actively trying to brainwash people, manipulate people. So I know all of us, a lot of the people that watch this channel are probably looking at it and saying, oh, it's all the, the people that are getting the vax 1 million times a year and, still wearing the mask. But it's not just that. It's on both sides. They're manipulating everybody. Pretty much anything that you see on social media is probably some kind of a manipulation. And yeah, like I said, they know through these algorithms exactly what sequence sequence. They know when to put something in front of you, how often to put it in front of you, what to put in front of you to move you in that direction, and to get you to, like I said, to think things that you never probably would have thought otherwise. I especially noticed this. I of course, I wasn't able to put it into words or anything, but when I was over there in Europe and China, I completely stopped being on social media. I stopped following all the stuff that I was following, and it was amazing. It was like all anxiety just kind of went away, and I stopped worrying about it. And all the things that I had been worrying about, none of it actually happened. The world is still here. Things aren't great, right? I mean, the economy's not great, but it's not imploded yet. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But it got me thinking, maybe things aren't exactly what we think they are. Maybe some of that is a manipulation too. Certainly the stuff that we're seeing, on the other side is also a manipulation. But what's the real reason behind it? Is it because the government wants to, have a bunch of weird woke stuff in the country? Or is it something else? Because I think that they're actually manipulating both sides, as I mentioned just a minute ago. I think they're trying to pit the American people against each other so that they won't focus on the people that are trying to take away their rights and running weird programs on them. Now, I know in the documents that dropped, supposedly, because this is, we got the British to help do it to us. It's okay because the British military, the British intelligence agencies are the ones that are actually running the weird psyops and all of the sock puppet accounts affecting the American people. Whether you believe that or not, that doesn't make me feel any better. I really don't want to have my mind messed with. And I can remember how things used to be, and this is absolutely crazy the way the world is right now. And I would encourage each of you, again, probably get off of social media. I don't care what the reasons are why you're on there. And there's a million reasons to be on there. A lot of people will say, well, it's the only way I can communicate with family and friends. We still have telephones. Most of the people that are using social media are actually using their telephone to get on it. Just call, give somebody a call. Go pay them a visit in real life. Write them a letter or something, even an email. But be very aware that you're being manipulated every time you get on Facebook or any of those things, because and you don't even know it. I mean, you get on there and they're just feeding you stuff, and it's so subtle. Apparently, they've also infiltrated all these. It's bizarre, the stuff. Like, why is the government trying to do this? Well, unless they have some weird, crazy plan that they don't want everyone catching on to. I don't know. Certainly, it seems like there's some crazy stuff going on, but seek meekness. I should use it less. Yeah, definitely be careful if you've noticed, lately that you felt a lot of anxiety, that you're worrying about things, that you might not need to. And it's hard to tell because when you're on these things, it seems like it's the end of the world, doesn't it? It seems like everything is coming to an end and everything is crashing down. And oh my gosh, the economy and World War III and, now there's some new sickness going around. They've got people terrified all the time on both sides and also pointing at each other as though it's the end. Oh my gosh, it's the end of democracy as we know it. This is it, if you don't vote for this side. And it's just, to me, when I look at it, it just seems like they've set it all up to pit the American people against each other. And I don't know how we get out of this. Everywhere, it's so crazy to look around and see this. I mean, I lived in China, and this is the kind of thing that the Chinese government could only dream of. Well, actually, I think they would never actually implement something like that because it makes everyone vulnerable. I mean, if you have social media like that set up in your country, then anybody can set up a bunch of sock puppet accounts and start doing stuff, It opens you up to all kinds of vulnerabilities. Of course, they're probably taking advantage of it here. I bet they're running their own sock puppet accounts and their own campaigns to try and manipulate the American public. And I'm sure that when the government was coming out and saying, oh, the Russians were running all these sock puppet accounts on social media, yeah, I'm sure they were, but just not quite to the extent that the American and British governments were. And, well, I don't know, boy, is that going to get me in trouble? I'm sure that YouTube and Google are probably still all on board with everything. There's been some documents that have dropped about that, but we'll see what happens if I'm, what the heck? I'm already, shadow banned into oblivion. But I wanted to share that message. It's not really what I would like to focus on because, again, I think that all this end of the world stuff, be prepared. I know a lot of people that get on the channel are preppers, and, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I grew up in a religion that taught you to be prepared in that way, to have at least 1 year of food. I mean, people are talking about, well, you got to have like 30 days or, an emergency kit, and it's like, well, the way I grew up, it was always like, well, you got to have at least a year's supply of food for your whole family. And so, I mean, I grew up with that. I understand, disasters happen all the time. It's a good idea to be prepared just in case, whatever happens. And when it comes to debts, if you're worried about the economy, it's probably a good idea not to be in debt. It's probably a good idea to be, standing on solid ground when it comes to financial things as best you can. I understand, the world is a crazy place. Things happen, and, it's not always that easy to get into that position, but, do what you can. Again, if you're, sort of concerned about that, then it's just a matter of doing what you can. And that's all you really need. You don't need to worry about it being the end of the world. I mean, if you're ready for any disaster, then you're ready for any disaster. So it's not something you really need to be overly concerned about. But be careful with this stuff. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot coming out as we get closer to the election because the people that are... did you hear... so I heard that the Daily Wire put out this movie. It's some kind of... it's making fun of the woke stuff, like the trans people in the... in basketball, or I don't know if it's specifically basketball, but apparently the star got arrested by the FBI after the premiere. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happening. And, it's no surprise that any law, there's nothing that's sacred to these people. But, don't open yourself up to whatever it is that they're trying to do. Be very careful about social media. For myself, I'm just going to remove myself from it entirely. I'm not going to get on it. I may still have the accounts, but I'm probably not going to get on. Don't worry. I'll still try to do these shows as best I can. But I'm not going to be on social media. I'm not going to I'm not going to open myself up to the same people. I know you'd be saying, like, there's no way the American government would do anything so evil. Well, I can think of many times when the very people behind what is being done, maybe not the same people because I don't know if they're still alive, but the very people, the very government has been known to conduct crazy experiments on unsuspecting American citizens. The word like MK Ultra comes to mind. What was it? Operation Captain Midnight. They're like getting these guys in these brothels and drugging them and, subjecting them to all kinds of things. The Tuskegee Airmen, what the experiments that they performed on them. There's, I wouldn't put it past them. And that's supposedly from an era where people had stronger moral values. Just imagine, what the people in the White House would do today, or the people in the federal government. Let's see, Machina Opus. Do you consider YouTube part of the manipulation? Yes, I do. It absolutely is. They use the algorithm to manipulate people. Whether, anybody can get caught up. They say, oh, we had to fix all this to get people from getting on these rabbit holes. They're still there. It's just they're controlling what those rabbit holes are. They want people to get worked up just as much as they were getting worked up before. They just don't want them getting worked up about people living on the moon or something like that. They want them to get worked up about, pandemics and anything else that you can think of, or, a civil war or World War III, something like that, so that everybody's in a constant state of panic. Let's see, Seek Meekness, let's see, Mahin Opus, there's another one there. Also, glad you're back doing social commentary. Yeah, it's not always convenient. I mean, I love to do other kinds of videos, but let's face it, I've got this video that I've been trying to put together forever from when I was in Kunming. I mean, there's a lot of amazing stuff there, but wow, editing videos it can be a very time-consuming thing. And let's face it, I'm not getting anything out of these videos, so it kind of makes it difficult to justify spending the time editing video and putting it all together. And, I'm not exactly an expert in any of it, so it doesn't turn out, well, I think it turns out all right, but you know how it is. Let's see. Seek Meekness on YouTube. I am pretty selective with what I view. I really love this platform. YouTube, boy, it's a long way from what it used to be. I know there's so many new people out there all the time. There's millions and millions of people making videos on YouTube. And somehow, when I get on, I only see the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's unfortunate. I'd love to see something new. I really would. I used to really enjoy seeing what the creative stuff that people would put together on YouTube. And now it seems like, I guess, people have to make money. I see a lot of people selling products. In my case, when I get on, it's usually something to do with cameras, lenses, that sort of thing. I guess that they figured me out. They know exactly what I'm interested in. Let's see. I do zero Facebook, X, etc. I watch a lot on YouTube, though. That's from Machina Opus. Yeah, I used to get on Twitter, but you get all upset because you see these people making these absolutely ridiculous comments on things, and well, it turns out that most of those people are just sock puppet accounts. It's the manipulation that I was talking about. It's all fake. Everything there is fake. And Elon Musk, he spent a lot of money purchasing the platform. And people say it's better since he got it. I guess at least you don't get kicked off. But the sock puppet people are still there. The fake stuff is still there. The manipulation is still there. And, it's going to be there because I don't even know how you would clean that up. I don't know how you get rid of it. It's just absolutely terrible. And I'm not going to subject myself to that. I'm not going to open my mind up to have somebody trying to plant ideas in there. And I'm not saying they're going to, target you specifically or me specifically, but, they seem to know how to move society in a certain way. And they're probably going to be very heavily working on that come election time. And I really don't like brainwashing. I don't like the idea of my mind being brainwashed. It kind of makes me think of that movie, Inception. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie. It's one that I like because, I often travel abroad or sometimes live abroad. And anyway, you've got this group of expats, and they go into people's dreams, and they, the whole idea is like they're going to plant an idea in somebody's mind to make them think a certain way. And they're saying how it's impossible. Well, they succeed in the movie. Oh, man, I'm probably blown. If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. You'll have to check it out. But they have figured it out in real life. Not the dream stuff. They're not actually going into your dreams or anything. But they have figured out how to plant ideas and to get you to do what they want you to do. Whatever crazy thing it happens to be. And that's scary. It makes you wonder about a lot of things that you see in the world. How many people have been manipulated to do things they would never have done? Certainly a lot of the people that are going around terrified of disease right now. And I who knows, maybe they can get mad at me for that. I've been hearing again, here and there about this white lung thing or some kind of pneumonia. It's my understanding that there's some senators or some GOP people that are talking about closing the airspace. Well, not the entire airspace, but stopping the flights coming in from China. Because, it's impossible that any disease has not spread outside of China so far. It's like, if it's already in Europe, it's already here, then shutting down the flights probably isn't going to do a whole lot of good at this point. But, they're talking about that again. So I get ready for that. I don't know how serious it is. I honestly, I don't know. But I'm not going to let myself get terrified over it. At least I'm not, in China this time where if they decide to shut the whole place down, I get trapped. That was quite an experience, in this little village for the holidays. And the next thing you know, they're like, build a wall so that I guess the other people can't get in, and we can all just hide in the village, until the pandemic has passed, until the zombie apocalypse is over. Absolutely wild experience, but those days are done now. And I hope that we're back on to normal life, and they're not going to be able to scare everybody again. It's crazy how things went. I mean, even when I came back to the United States, the pandemic stuff was still going on, the masking stuff. I had to wear a mask to go to the supermarket, and wow, here in the United States, I never thought they would get people to submit that way. But I guess it's another example of how they can use social media, especially in a time where everybody's on it, to manipulate people into doing and submitting to these things. Let's see. Ever see the dead internet theory? I've heard about that here and there. That's from Seek Meekness. I'll have to look more into that, but I have heard about that here and there. Mahin Opus, that's for Seek Meekness. Inception, yes, Chinese Chicken. It's a great movie. And I'm getting messages from China right now. To speak of the devil, I'm getting messages from China, from people over in Kunming as we speak. I have to wonder what's going to happen with China, with the economy being the way it is. I can't imagine that they can just last forever. And, there's a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about when it comes to China and some of the ideas that I've had. I think I brought it up in a previous live stream, some of my thoughts about Xi Jinping. He's got friends here in the United States, some people from Iowa that he came and stayed in their house long, long ago, before he was, some big shot leader. Slept in their kids' room. They drove him around. He was here on, official business looking into agricultural stuff. And that surprised me, You think that some of the other people, this is a world leader that may have a better picture of what Americans are like than maybe others do. Maybe some of the other people, their only experience dealing with Americans is at the diplomatic level. And here's a guy that came over and stayed in somebody's, house and drove around looking at, the rivers and talking about how he likes, Mark Twain books. And he's the leader of China, and, he's been going after corruption supposedly in China. We know that there's corruption all over the place. But sometimes I wonder if some of the attacks on what he's doing, or some of the things, it's more complicated maybe than what we realize it is. And I just try and I don't always buy the official narrative anymore, because it's just, so full of lies and so full of all kinds of manipulation. Anything could be a manipulation. Of course, they could be absolutely right, and Xi Jinping is some horrifying dictator. He's Mao reincarnated, and well, that's not possible because he was born and Mao was still alive, but something like that. The Mao Model 2 or something like that. Who knows? But then again, he could be the one that's trying to get rid of all of that. And the people who are full of corruption are doing everything in their power to make him look bad, or to mess things up along the way. We like to think of the Communist Party as, just all working together toward their evil plans. And again, it's more complicated than that. There are factions within the party that, have different ideas about how things should be. My point is not to be, I'm just trying to say it's complicated. And things are complicated here too. It absolutely is. And we've seen that as of late. Of course, sometimes it seems like it's even less complicated. Like sometimes the political parties that are in our government are actually working closer together than the Communist Party is over in China. They're all working toward their evil plans, whatever they happen to be. I guess brainwashing everybody. Seek Meekness. Yeah, like the internet is much more segmented. Some really cool videos on it on YouTube by all time. Yeah, it's, this is why I have a big problem with social media. It's so controlled. It's so manipulated. You see things that other people are not seeing. So all those people that are wearing the masks and are terrified, and you're the one that's saying don't wear the mask, they're seeing completely different stuff than you. They're not hearing any of the stuff, about, the Russia hoax thing, right? You and I, we might call it the Russia hoax. and they're still calling it Russian collusion because they never got the message that, hey, that was all fake and it was something that Hillary Clinton put together. They have no idea. And you think that's crazy. How can you not know that? How can you still believe this stuff? Well, believe me, if all of your information is coming from social media, it's very possible that they have not heard that message. So yeah, I would not doubt that social media and the internet is very segmented. And as I said, most of the activity, Elon Musk, when he took over Twitter, said I can't remember what the percentage was, but it was a crazy high percentage of accounts on the platform were actually fake. And that was all I needed to hear. It's like, this is all just a bunch of baloney. It's just one big manipulation, one giant lie to try and either shut people up or move things in a certain direction. And, well, the direction sure seems strange when it comes to the woke stuff. I don't think that they necessarily really care about the woke stuff. I as I mentioned earlier, I think it might all just be to try and pit people against each other. But who would follow some of that stuff? The crazy things that they've been pushing. I don't know. Maybe they are part of some kind of a crazy death cult, as I'm sure that the likes of Alex Jones would probably suggest. I have no idea, but it sure does seem like it sometimes. Like there really is some crazy group of evil people out there running the whole world and moving us in some kind of strange, horrible, horrifying direction. Who knows? Maybe it'll all come crashing down at some point. But I'm glad to see some progress taking place here. It seems at least some of the companies that have been going down that woke path are beginning to realize that it's not working. I've heard that Disney has been having meetings along those lines, saying, "Oh man, this is costing us big time. We have to change directions." I think the Jewish-Christian prophecies will come to pass. Yeah, of course, that is another thing. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened as of late that kind of makes you wonder. I haven't, been overly religious for a while, but whenever I see something come up in the news that is along those lines, I always kind of scratch my head and say, maybe it's getting to that point. I don't know. Maybe we're going down that road. It's just the end of the world. That's all. Just the end of the world. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. Or, you could go with some of these other faiths that where people are actively trying to bring about the end of the world. I really don't know why anybody would want to do that, but I guess they do. Who knows? But, you watch that close. If the signs are starting to show up, the wars and rumors of wars and, all of that, hopefully we're not headed toward them. I guess if there is an end to the world, then we're always headed toward it, but hopefully it's not that soon. Hopefully the world can come back to sanity and we can all stop the craziness. Just go back to regular life. I'd like that, and I'd like to go back to just trying to make a living and that's another thing, people not working. I wonder what happened with that. I wonder if that's some kind of manipulation as well. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They had all those jobs opened up and nobody would take them. It just seemed really strange, when I had left the United States, nobody would be thinking of just staying at home or playing video games instead of working. It seems really strange to me. The way that people think these days. But maybe that's another manipulation. Who knows? I wonder what the reasoning would be behind it. I have to see. Anyway, I have been talking now for about 30 minutes, and my voice is actually, I'm feeling it going away, so I'll probably go ahead and end this here, and I'm going to leave all this set up so that I can do these with ease every day. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming in and chatting. Again, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางปะกงหาหวยงงหลงเกอหาโอเวรกรรมจำพรากจากไปไกลตา